And my mic is now active, and so is yours. Okay, awesome.
All right.
Welcome. Hopefully the audio sounds good on your guys' end. Please feel free to let me know. But thank you guys all so much for stopping by. As always, my name is Eli, and then we have a special guest today, RNG Games. For those of you guys that don't know, Tuesdays and Thursdays are usually our Q&A day, but today we're doing something a little bit special, switching it around so we can have RNG Games on the channel. So really excited to have him on for an interview. We're going to pick his brain for as long as we can, as much time as he will grant us, and then obviously at the end when we start to kind of wrap up on time, I'll let you guys get in a couple of questions. But as far as it goes, as always, guys, make sure if you want to support the channel, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. But without further ado, do you want to give yourself a little bit of an introduction into the video?
Yeah, my name's Rob. I started a local game store about a year ago. RNG Games. We're in New Jersey. It's been crazy. It's been good. We've grown pretty well this past year. We're on our second or third expansion into our store, so it's been pretty good.
Right on. So what do you? I guess I should start asking. What do you mean by your second or third expansion?
So originally started just in store, so I was just doing all the fulfillment in store. So then after that, we moved to another location. We got a warehouse space, and now we're on our second expansion of a warehouse space. So now we have an even bigger warehouse.
Really? Oh, that's really
Yep.
exciting. Okay.
And that's where we're recording right now.
Oh, sweet. So in terms of the warehouse space, is that predominantly something where you're just storing sealed product, bulk? Like what would you say the general use is?
Yeah, it's mostly storage of sealed product and my sorting machines here and doing all the bulk stuff here too as well.
Okay, awesome. So do you want to kind of give a little bit of a heads up to those? I mean, just brief because we've got so many questions to ask on so little time. What is kind of your story in terms of what do you do? Where are you at right now in your journey in terms of what you're doing?
As far as the store or my journey.
So I'm just asking,
Yeah.
all right, what caused you to want to open the store? How long have you been in the store for a while? How are things going? Kind of just a brief synopsis.
Yeah. Well, what made me want to open the store is so I was doing a lot of during COVID and stuff like that. I had an Amazon sort of business on the side as well as working. So I was doing a lot of wholesale with Amazon. And then I just got into a rabbit hole of back into Magic, just opening product and I think I bought 2 master cases of Zendikar Rising collector boosters. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try TCG Player, figure it out. I want to see how it works. And we ended up pretty much doubling the money we put into it. And I was like, that's way better than anything I could do on Amazon with wholesale. So I was like, I'm just going to try and figure this out, try and milk as much money as I can out of every single card, figure it out. And from then on, it was just that's it. I'm opening a store. I don't care. And then I kind of, that was kind of a fluke. That one set during that time, it was kind of really hyped up. So then after that, it kind of opened my eyes to what actually it takes to run a business, run an LGS, or run any type of trading card business. The margins are so small that it's not even funny. But that's pretty much it. Now we're here today.
So how long have you officially been open with your store as it stands? Where's your location as well for those people that want to visit you in the area? And how are things going?
Located in South Plainfield, New Jersey. It's been going good. I opened October 16th of last year, so we're just over a year now. And things have been great, man.
That's so funny. Always the October openings. I opened Pokemon USA, the online site, on the 22nd of October, and then we opened the store E4 on the 28th of October. So that's kind of funny, actually. Um,
Yeah. Good
but
month to open.
yeah, good month to open. It's a very enjoyable month. Okay, well that's awesome. So you've been officially open for over a year now. So in
Hmm.
terms of your overall journey and the process that you kind of took to be able to open your store, if you kind of want to dive into that, obviously you went from Amazon to then realizing, okay, there's some, TCG player that there's something to be had with that. Was it something that you just were like, hey, I'm full steam ahead diving into this? Or did you spend some time on TCG Player first and then eventually built up a following base through that or social media or something before you just started in LGS?
Yeah, so I did start an online store before that, like an actual website with binder POS and all that stuff. Before I even opened an LGS, I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to mess with all the settings and that stuff, and um, really dial in the sort of the logistics of a local game store. Because when I opened this store, I didn't want to have to rely on people walking through the door because you can't. You can't always rely on that. So I wanted to be able to make the money to sustain the business with just my online sales. And this was pretty much me judging the numbers on running my Amazon business. But once I opened the store, there was no time for that other type of business. It was just, I had to just stop and it was just this. So then I had to figure out kind of how do I make money just selling cards. And that was just another just insane task. But you can do it. You can do it.
So then would you say that the predominant source of revenue right now for your business would be the card side of things compared to the like sealed product and events?
Oh yeah. Yeah. By far it's singles all the way. Like to be, completely transparent, like any main set in-store sales of like set booster boxes or any type of booster box, Pokemon's completely different. Like I'm talking about Magic. I'll sell maybe with pre-sales and everything in store, maybe 20 or 30 boxes, which isn't a lot, especially when you make like $20 off of a booster box. It's like not a lot. So you have to sort of scale up and do mass openings, which we're actually doing right now as we're interviewing.
So then if your sales are predominantly online with, bulk or whether it be in store with bulk,
Yeah.
and just other singles, what made you say to yourself that you wanted to open up a game store location when it sounds like you could have done a lot of this just out of like, whether it be a warehouse or, just rented out a location without having a storefront, more or less?
Yeah, I mean, it brings a lot of legitimacy to the business and also walk-in trade-ins and stuff like that. That's kind of where you make a lot of your money is from people actually coming in and trading in cards. Like that's why you open up majority of the product. You get those like big ticket hits from the set. People come in, they trade in a bunch of cards for you, and that's how you make your money a lot of the times.
Right on. And what would you say in terms of your just overall relationships that you have had, both prior to when you opened up the store, as to now you have with your distributors, and kind of talk to people about that
Right.
want to follow the steps with you. What's the kind of route that they need to go in order to gain distro, and if that's something that's even achievable at this point?
Yeah,
Because
it's
obviously,
not. Yeah, it's not anymore. It's
yeah.
very hard to get a distributor just being online. I mean, I was able to do it. This is uh, probably pre-COVID, I think. Yeah, pre-COVID. It was very easy. All you really needed was, a resale license, LLC, and all that other stuff, and you were good. That was it. And you would get allocation, very small, be that, but you would still get something. A case or two, three cases, whatever, starting out. But now you really can't. I don't know of any distributors right now that are taking online only customers yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very hard.
So then, would you say that for your general situation, was that something you feel like you just got kind of lucky with, or did you just get in at the right place, right time, or?
Yeah, I kind of just got lucky with it. There was a lot of things that I would sell on my Amazon wholesale business that were sort of collectible related. So I had the distributors sort of already open. Like once I was open the online store, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a go and see what happens. And that's when the website spooled up and everything like that. Started taking pre-orders. It pretty much did what every other online sort of trading card store did. You took pre-orders, you made the money on the pre-orders, you gave people the pre-orders, and then that was it. It was on to the next set because literally you had nothing left because all the pre-orders were sold and that was it.
So, what would you say has been your process since you've opened up a game store in acquiring distributors, and how successful was that? Were you able to expand into multiple others? Were you only able to grab one or two? For those that are like, hey, I want to open up a store, but I want to make sure that I can grab some and be part of the Magic Network, how realistic is it for them to be able to get that location and then try and hopefully get some access to open up at the same time?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm still getting over being sick. It's pretty easy. If you have a retail storefront, you're good. You're not going to get declined for any distributor. It's if you have a retail storefront and you're an actual game store, you're getting wholesale from distributor. Like that's it. There's no sure you have to take pictures, video walkthrough. Wizards are a little bit more strict. Your video walkthrough, you need a fixed sign to the building, can't be a banner. If you want to actually be a WPN, you need to have a bathroom. You needs to be handicap accessible, all that other stuff. But as far as actually getting distributor access, if you have a retail storefront and you're legit, you're good. There's really no secret about that.
How many distributors do you currently have, and do you plan on expanding at some point? Or if not, what's kind of keeping you comfortable with where you are?
I have everyone. I'm like Thanos. I collected all the rings.
I have every distributor.
Yeah.
So for those people that don't know, because there's obviously certain types, whether it be more local to your region or whether it be larger ones such as GTS, Alliance, and so on and so forth. What would you say has been your... And obviously you don't have to name drop here if you're feeling that you're gonna get in trouble.
Nah,
but what
fine.
would you say you've had the best experience with, or if you want to just say I love this distributor, I think they're amazing, they've treated me well.
Yeah, my main distributor is Southern Hobby. That's my main. They took me seriously when I was online only. All the other ones didn't. They really treated me like a professional, like I was a professional store. Pretty much all the other distributors that I had at the time, they really didn't take me seriously or give me the time of day. Sure, I understand it was during COVID. Everyone was opening wholesale contract. Everyone was trying to flip the free tendies on Pokemon. I get it, but I was really trying to start a business, and I believe that Southern Hobby, they really understood that, and they sort of took the time and helped me out.
Nice.
Which is why they still get the majority of my money to this day.
Yeah, that's definitely something you like to hear. And I presume you've had probably a great relationship in terms of your overall just experience with their sales staff.
Yeah, they've been to my store. They come to my store sometimes.
Oh,
it's
that's
great.
awesome.
We have a personal relationship outside of just business.
That's awesome. So then when it comes to the product that you purchase, what would you say is the predominant you buy, and then if this also is the same or if it's not, what is your bread and butter?
Oh, Magic. 100%. I mean, you do better margins with Pokemon, of course, but the more volume is with Magic because there just is more players for that. 90% I would say Pokemon is collectors, which, is not a shock to everyone. Most of the people do just collect Pokemon.
Yeah. So then for you, would you say in opening up an LGS and being part of the Magic Network, would you say that it's important to predominantly cater more to that kind of player base, or do you try and cater to both, or what is your kind of, belief in running a successful LGS in terms of pushing Magic product?
Well, you have to be well-rounded. You can't just do one, game and be good. You have to kind of do everything. I would say go with your strengths. If you know Pokemon and that's your thing, go for that. That should be your game. Me, I knew Magic, so I went with that. I like Pokemon, of course, but I know Magic. I know the rules. I know how to play. I like the game. I played, all through 4th edition, all the way up to Onslaught. I stopped, and then if anyone knows, I know I'm maybe speaking that a lot of people on this channel maybe don't know. Onslaught was probably 2001 or 99, whatever. Anyway, I stopped playing, or 2006, I forget. But then I stopped playing and started playing again, like back in 2012, 2013. So I knew Magic. So I wanted to start a store essentially like sort of surrounding that game. So I knew the players were there. I knew, first of all, I did no research on the area. I just opened the store. It's astounding that I'm actually made it a year. But but it was close to my house, and I was like, whatever, I'll just see what happens. We got a little money saved. Let's figure it out. So I would say go with your strengths. So if you know Pokemon, go with Pokemon. But you always gotta have the other things going.
So that actually reminds me, one of the comments that I read on one of your videos, someone had asked you if you were going into sports cards, and you said that as it stands right now, no, because you just are like, I'm not going to get into something I don't know. What currently are you in right now in terms of cards, and then are you planning to expand?
So yeah, right now I'm in the big three. So Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. I did mess around with a little Flesh and Blood and MetaZoo. I'm gonna be completely blunt about it. Don't even try and stock MetaZoo. Don't do it. You won't sell it. It's just gonna sit there.
Dang.
Flesh and Blood is a little bit better. It has a little bit of a better secondary market, so you can carry that product a little comfortably. And know, because the thing about carrying a product is you have to know it's liquid. So with a good secondary market, you could open the product and kind of get your money back. With MetaZoo or any new card game, the secondary market just isn't there. So it's a little bit more risky for a store to carry these products when you know that you can open this product and not sell a single card from it.
Would you say that, obviously, because you have connections to be able to access these product at distro prices, we're just now in the process of acquiring distributors that carry that as well. The wholesale price for what you're purchasing them at is not as lavish as a lot of people make it out to be.
No. People think, it's crazy that people think, I had someone saying that, like, oh, what do you get boxes for, $50? I was like, if I got boxes for $50, I would be driving a Ferrari.
Oh my God.
Like, people don't get it, especially with the price increase in Magic just recently. Like, we're getting our set boxes for almost $100. Like, it's not good. And Pokemon, same thing. I mean, Pokemon's gonna have a price increase soon. I don't even know if I should say that, but
no,
I might not.
No, that was a question I was actually going to ask you at some point. So don't worry about it.
It's going to happen soon. A price increase on Pokemon's going to be, I think it's going to go up to like $87, $88 a box.
Do you think that's okay? So I know there's a price increase in terms of MSRP prices are raising in February.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that for you specifically that They were
it
also
will
going to
affect wholesale.
Yeah, you think so? That was the
100%.
question I was going to ask next.
Yeah, if they're raising MSRP, it's because they're raising wholesale prices as well.
Okay. Well, because so like for me with my distributors, for example, MSRP hasn't moved in a while, and they just progressively have been raising prices. I mean, my first distributor that I had, their prices for product was anywhere between $78 to $82 about 2 years ago, and now their prices for MSRP or for wholesale is now anywhere between 86 to 88. And so within the past 2 years, the price has gone up by like 10%. And so that's where I'm like, I wonder if it's something where most like distributors are going to start to like crank up their prices, if it's specific to select ones that are offering at cheaper prices. So I don't know. I'm curious.
The distributors with the biggest stock, so the biggest distributors, GTS, Alliance, they always charge, more because they have a lot of stuff. So the deeper the stock, the more variety they have, the more they charge because you get a more reliable source of inventory. I'd rather have a reliable source of inventory coming every week, every month, than, save $3 or $4 or, whatever. There are certain distributors that do sit on a lot of product, so you'll notice certain distributors, I don't really want to name drop or do any slandering, but there are other distributors that you'll be spending a crap ton of money, and then all of a sudden you'll get your allocation, and it's like 1/4 of your allocation with another distributor, and you're like, and it's always with a hype product. It's always with like something that's insane that you're gonna make money on, and it's like, why are you not giving me a lot of this? But we'll just put in a name. We'll say Battle Style. Battle Styles, you were giving me so much of, but Evolving Skies, you only gave me 2 cases. But Battle Styles, I got 800 cases. What's the deal?
Not to also name names, but it is also the worst when they do that, and then when there's a reprint for that high demand product and prices crash, all of a sudden, we just want to let you know we can now fulfill all of your order. Here's this product we can't sell because the price crashed 50%.
Yeah.
You better take it.
Yeah.
It's having distributors is an interesting game, especially depending on
organized crime.
It's organized crime. They're like, we don't want to give it to you now, but don't worry. When prices drop 50%, no one else will take it. We'll make sure to give it to you.
Yeah, there's no way that I should be able to still get evolutions from distributor.
Yeah.
And I can. But they're charging way more than you could get it for online. So I'm like, what? It's like, why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. But before we dive too far down the rabbit hole, let's move into the bulk side of things. Your bread and butter, right? I'm excited for this one. This is the one I've been dying to ask a trillion questions on. But always nice to talk about distro because a lot of people have so many questions about that. In terms of just kind of giving a brief.
A set name. Sorry.
No, you're all good. In terms of giving a brief synopsis, obviously it sounds like Magic's kind of your bread and butter in terms of bulk side of things, right? Mm-hmm. But for an individual that is just kind of wanting to start out, what should their general goal be to eventually run a successful, scalable bulk business?
Well, it depends. Like, if you're just starting out with TCG player and everything like that, so your sort of progress is gonna be in sort of a tiering step in order to get to the final destination, which is like direct and doing all that stuff. So in the beginning, I don't recommend you because you're gonna be breaking your ass, like just selling these penny cards, 10-cent cards, and not making any money. So I would recommend putting floor prices on everything. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, it's 25 cents. Now, if you have the space for it, and you could sort of accommodate the space for this amount of stuff, which it doesn't take a lot of space because you're going to scale up relatively quickly. Maybe you'll need maybe 2 racks from like Walmart, and you'll be good for the first like 5 or 6, 7 sets. By then, you'll be in direct, and you'll have to worry about something else. You'll have to revamp your whole system, doing everything because now you're direct. So I would recommend setting a floor price for everything because you don't want to be shipping out like a 60 card, 70, 80 card order and then losing $1. It doesn't feel good. In the grand scheme of things, sure, like the rule of like volume kind of makes up for it, but I would suggest like starting with a floor price for any card, doesn't matter what it is. Sure, you can not even list it, but it's good to have it up there because there was times where like someone would buy that $20 card and then they would throw in 2 or 3 play sets of 25-cent card, and that's just like free money because it's like an extra $2 or $3 that you would never normally get because someone's just in your store shopping from you and they want those cards. And then once you get to direct, then you can revamp your prices, go with a more market price approach. But you want to sell things direct only because the volume becomes really insane once you become direct. So I recommend after you get direct, you change your shipping price to $1.99 because it literally like you'll have. I remember one day I had like 6 to 900 orders just for me to fulfill. It was like insane. I was there to like probably 6 o'clock in the morning shipping stuff. And then after like I cleared out the queue, there was another 150. So I was like, no. We're not doing this. So that's when I changed my shipping to $1.99 and sort of started doing a different approach, which has been working. I still get orders. It'll be like 20 to 30 direct, like for me directly to handle, not the direct account. Direct account's completely different. That can get 1,000 orders in a day, and that's just pretty much bulk that people trade in or stuff I open that necessarily isn't worth a whole lot. Because anything over like $2 or $3, I tend to keep for the store from my customers. Better margins, and it's more sought after cards, so people want them.
So when you say $1.99, just so that people can understand this properly, you're obviously letting people know that direct, for those of you guys that don't know, it doesn't offer you the option to charge shipping. And obviously, if you want to watch a video, for those of you guys listening, you can on what's the difference between direct. So we won't go into that. But by your model of being $1.99 shipped, obviously that's going to your standard envelope shipments. Is that something where for your mind it's more or less a way in which you're like, hey, I want to do as much direct as possible, I'm de-incentivizing people to order for me outside of that, and if they do, then it's worth it because I'm getting that extra $1 for my shipping?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, if I gotta touch the card, I'm getting $1.
So you
know, like
no, keep going.
It doesn't matter, because sometimes some people order a 5-cent card, so it doesn't benefit me to handle the card, ship the card, mail the card, deal with customer service, and then at the end of it possibly lose money because after fees and all that shipping, you could on a 5-cent order you might lose money, unless everything goes according to plan. And it's just, I know when someone orders something from me directly, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to make money. And that's my whole approach with my direct account. And I have 2 other TCG player accounts as well.
So you said obviously starting off 25 cents is kind of what your minimum is specifically, but that's because for you with the envelopes, it just makes the most sense doing it that way.
Just starting out non-direct. Yeah,
right.
That's my recommendation. Once
you hit direct, what is your kind of minimum that you say you like to set when selling your just general cards?
So through this, when I run stuff through the sorter, I do an 8-cent threshold. So anything under 8 cents gets rejected. and pretty much gets bulked out. So uh, we do random like card assortments. We do packs for Amazon. We do all sorts of things here. Um, so yeah, anything pretty much. It depends on the set. Sometimes we do 25 cents if there's a lot of like good stuff over a certain price. It varies between set, but normally it's around 8 to 15 cents on average. Uh, so yeah, you do that, and I would recommend just pricing your stuff to either market or even TCG player a direct low or market low, and then you just like that's how you do the volume. That's how you get the sales.
So when you say you would recommend pricing it at market price or direct low, is that something that you're saying after accounting for that 8 to 15% price sorting out of? Or sorry, 8 to 15 cents pricing out?
Yeah, yeah.
So then in terms of all of those cards that you're kind of pricing out, in your mind, what kind of made you come up with that number specifically? Because I guess
Yeah.
to kind of ask, like, all right, let's say you've got a card that you bought for, half a penny, and then you're selling it for 12 cents after fees and so on and so forth with direct. You're probably going to roughly walk away with like 5 cents or something like that, right?
Yeah.
In your mind, is that not like enough? Are you shooting for more?
No,
Or
it's enough. It just became a volume and shipping sort of handicap on my part. Like I didn't have enough like because you'll like if you're doing all the low value cards, you'll get a TCG player direct return invoice for 4,000 cards. It'll be insane. And that'll take you like 4 or 5 hours. So if you average that out, like if I average that out, it's just not worth my time. I'd rather, uh, make bulk lots and sell it someplace else than just mess with a 4,000 card TCG player order. I like my return invoices to be anywhere between, on the low end, like 400 cards to like the max 1,500. And that's where I like my sweet spot to be because I know it only takes an hour or two. So that's where I like to be with the return invoices. They get triggered pretty much every other day. So I don't want to spend too much time packaging that stuff and dealing with that stuff. And I haven't ran to a point of like scaling it to a point where I like running out of cards that I need for that price range. There's Magic's pretty much infinite. So it's like you can always rely on, especially if you advertise it to your player base that you buy commons and uncommons, you buy bulk. You'll never run out. It'll never be an issue.
so, what would you say percentage of your bulk that you're acquiring, whether it be Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or all the above, would you say is priced out under that 8 cent mark?
Ooh. Yeah. So, but Pokemon just gets. I don't even run Pokemon through the machine. It just. I don't. I would need another machine. It just. There's not enough time in the day for it. So that all that bulk pretty much gets made into bulk lots. There could be $5, $10 cards in there. I don't know. I just make the lots, send it off to Amazon, and then that's it. Primarily with Magic, I would say 60 to 70% is rejected.
Okay. So then for you with that being 60 to 70% and the other 30% being pushed obviously through the direct program, for someone that doesn't have a POS binder account, what would you say the most effective way of getting rid and offloading a lot of that bulk is, since it sounds like a lot of it is obviously not sold on TCG Player and is done through lots instead?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be sort of in a weird spot because you're not going to be able to sell it on Amazon. That's the pretty much like it's so liquid. It's not even funny. Like
Wait, why can't you sell on Amazon?
because you'll be gated. You need to have a So if you want to be able to sell any type of big brand like Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, anything like that, you need a wholesale contract, not a contract, but a wholesale invoice for that product. In order to get a wholesale invoice, you need, to have a wholesale account. And in order to have a wholesale account, you need to be a store now. So it's going to be very hard to get ungated to sell those products on Amazon. So you'd have to pretty much rely on eBay or something like that.
And when you say a store, can that be both online or does it have to be an actual physical retail location?
You just have to have an invoice for the product. So an invoice of at least 10 units of that product. Could be any Pokemon product. So actually, there is a way around it, but it's pretty much like it doesn't have to be cards. So I know a lot of people, I'm gonna spill the tea here, little industry secrets. So a lot of people go to this. You just need pretty much a LLC and a resale license, and they go to this place called EE Distribution. It's Entertainment Earth. It's a big, toy collectible distributor. So they accept online customers still, and you just need to buy any type of Pokemon product, at least 10 units, and apply to sell it on Amazon, and then you're ungated. And you could sell bulk, you could sell cards, you could sell product, you could sell whatever you want. It doesn't have to necessarily be cards. You could buy 10 Pez dispensers of Pokemon and get ungated in Amazon for selling Pokemon. So it doesn't necessarily need to be cards. You just need to be have wholesale a invoice of 10 units of that brand.
Okay. And so for you, what would you say is kind of the biggest line outside of your store where you're offloading the bulk? Is it through predominantly Amazon? Is it through eBay?
Amazon, yeah.
Amazon, really? How successful would you say you are with? I mean, obviously you say it's the largest amount, but like what percentage? If you're saying 70% to 60% of it, how much of that?
I would say how much of that 60 to 70% makes to Amazon? 100%.
100% of it?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And what's your turnover rate on that?
It's infinite. I can't keep it in stock.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, interesting. Yeah. So,
I could send in, especially Pokemon, I could send in 2,000 units and it'll be sold out in a day or two.
When you say units, what do you mean by that?
Units, like individual packs, whatever it is, the bulk pack lot, whatever it is. I could send in 2,000 units and it's literally gone in a day.
Do you want to explain to people a little bit about what the wholesale program is with Amazon?
Like what I did?
Like a brief explainer, because obviously for you it's something that's been extremely successful from the sounds of it. For those individuals that are obviously, you just explained to them the process of it, of how to sign up for it. But can you explain to them how the necessary process works of what that looks like once you're signed up for the program? What do you do?
Yeah, so it's Amazon FBA, so it's fulfilled by Amazon. So on Amazon, you could sell directly, fulfill yourself, or you could send it into Amazon and Amazon holds your inventory for you and sells it. So the only way for you to actually be competitive and get the buy box, which is Amazon's, used to be Amazon's patented technology to be able to, less friction to be able to purchase something. In the buy box you buy, now it's gone. You bought it. So in order to be able to get that sort of position in the sales rank is to be an FBA seller, which is a pro seller in Amazon. So in order to do that, you pretty much just apply. You don't need to have a business technically. You just apply. You could sell directly yourself as, a sole proprietor. And that's pretty much it. You would package it, label it, put your seller label on it. There's so many videos you could watch. It's all the information's out there for free. So because once you start looking this stuff up, you'll get targeted with a lot of these masterclass ads. You don't need that. It's just, everything's free. So you just label it and send it into Amazon. It's very easy. I'm sure that the Amazon seller portal, the back end is a little confusing, but there's so many different add-ons and features that you could buy outside of it to make it streamline a little bit better.
So, would you say that more or less it sounds like the way you're explaining it is it's almost like the direct program in a way
Yeah.
for what you just, have your units that you package up, send it off to them and they take care of it for you.
Yeah, it's pretty much like TCG Player Direct, but with TCG Player Direct, you hold the inventory until TCG Player wants it. So with Amazon, you just send it to them. You say, "Here you go, guys. You hold it in your gigantic warehouses of that you have a zillion of, and you charge me a storage fee, of whatever every month that I don't sell out of my inventory."
How
Sorry if you.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I got a notification on my computer. I wasn't sure if you heard it.
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay.
So what would you say? So how's the fee structure on that?
Oh, it is astronomical. Way worse than TCG Player.
Really?
Yeah, it's so let's say it depends on the size of the order, the size of the product. There's so many different tierings, but on average it's probably 30 to 40%.
30 to 40% is what they take away?
Yeah, fees.
Okay, so how is that worse than TCG Player if they're taking 50% with direct?
Well, here's the thing. If you sell, with TCG Play, if you sell something over $3, they don't do that. With Amazon, if you sell something for $10, you're only walking away with like 5.
I see. So in your mind with direct, the reason why it's better is because the predominant expectation is that you're going to have a lot of large combined orders that is going to approach over $3.
Yeah, that, and it takes a little bit less work than Amazon.
Okay.
Because especially with, labeling everything. Because, like, let's say I do a shipment of, like, 4,000 units of Magic Bulk. I got to sit there. I got to label each single one. I got to package it. I got to prep it. I got to make the shipment. I got to take it to to the UPS store. I got to do all this stuff. With TCG Play Direct, I run the cards through the sorter, hit a button on my computer, good to go. How you doing? That's it, done. Until it's ready to get, put together and sent off. But I no longer do the actual TCG Play Direct orders. I hire people for that, so I no longer have to do that. Thank God.
So then for yourself, is it really just the volume that you're able to push out for Amazon is what you just enjoy about it the most?
Yeah, it's like when things start to get built up, like let's say bulk or whatever, I know that bulk could be turned into money at any time. So it doesn't really bother me that it gets built up, but every so often we take like a few days, 3, 4, 5 days, we package a whole crap ton and then we send it off to Amazon. And then Amazon, they nom it, eat it up, and then that's it. It turns into money.
So what's the kind of size of each unit that you're selling? Is it packs of 100? Is it packs of 500?
Normally packs of 50. But with Magic, sometimes it could be 1,000 cards. It all depends on what I have an abundance of.
Is it like a random mystery pack, or is it like here's
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Pretty much, yeah.
You create random mystery packs. I assume they, probably have like one. I'm not an expert at Magic, so I apologize.
Yeah, like they'll have like 4 or 5 rares and an even split of commons and uncommons. Pretty much like a starter pack to get you started.
And what are you currently charging for those $50?
No,
Or sorry, not
depends.
$50, 50 cards.
Yeah, it's very competitive because everyone does it. So it could be on a good day $7. On a bad day, it's like 5.
Wow.
It sounds good. It sounds good. But all said and done, let's say I sell it for $7, I'm walking away, profit in my pocket, $2.
Right.
So, it took the time, it took a week to package, prep, ship, and all said and done, once everything sells, if every single unit sells and I get 0 returns, which never happens. So I walk away with around $2,000.
Okay. So then for yourself, in terms of creating these mystery packs, how do you go about doing that? Are you running it through the Roka and then it's just doing it for you?
No, it's all by hand.
Really? Wouldn't that run out expensive in terms of labor cost to create those?
Well, it's not, because I do it all myself pretty much.
Well, I mean, you still have to calculate your expended labor costs because your time is valuable.
I don't.
No, you don't.
It would just sit there and just collect like, let's say I have time. Like today would have been a good day where I would do like maybe 100 of them, and then they would just go in a drawer and sit there until I built up enough to make a big shipment.
So how many of those 50s are you shipping out to once at Amazon?
At once, normally I don't even bother unless it's 1,000 units.
Really? So in other words, 50,000 cards?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long does it take for you to ship out those units? And then how does that process go in terms of how often you ship them out?
Yeah, so it depends, because like right now I've been out of stock for a few months now because getting the new space in the warehouse, doing all this other stuff, better things take the front burner for a while. So once they're all made, the process is pretty grueling, I'm not gonna lie. So, I have 2,000 units. I have a label printer. I put my labels in there and I just hit a button. I need 2,000 labels of this one product. And they come out. And as they come out, we're just there, me, another guy, maybe even another guy. And we're just labeling these for Amazon. And then we package them all up. They go into, big boxes. And then they get thrown off to Amazon.
Okay, so when you're saying you've got like 2,000 labels that you're creating, right? Is that something that Amazon is paying that shipment for you, or are you having to pay to ship to Amazon?
I have to pay to ship to Amazon.
So you're paying for 2,000 labels that you have to ship out because you can't just bulk send
no.
No.
You do a bulk shipment together. So this 2,000 unit order gets shipped in, a bunch of 50-pound boxes.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So then where's the 2,000 labels come into play?
That's what I print out. I got to pay for the labels, of course. What do you mean? I'm confused. What do you mean? The labels have to go on to the actual unit that you're selling.
Right.
That's your seller label.
So I guess where I think we're getting lost in translation with this is, so you have about 1,000 on average. Do you try and combine ship as many as you can into individual 50-pound boxes?
Yeah, I could fit. Yeah, you have to do 50 pounds in a box is the limit. So I can fit 225 units in a box, and that'll be 50 pounds.
Okay.
So I'll do 4 or 5 boxes.
So then why aren't you having 4 or 5 labels? Why is it 2,000?
Oh, because each unit needs to be labeled because it has to be tracked through the warehouse.
Really? And that's going to cost you, and that's going to run you money to label each one?
Yeah. So each unit needs a sticker, basically.
How much is each one of those cost typically?
A label? Oh, no. It's less than a penny. It's not. Yeah.
Okay, I guess when I'm thinking label, where my mind goes is like a tracking label, like I'm printing it out to like ship to someone.
No.
Okay, I was so confused. I was like, I'm paying like $4 a label. Like you're saying $7 on top of the fees. Okay.
No, it's to be tracked through Amazon's warehouse. So
Amazon has their own labels that they use to track each individual unit. That's then thrown in 50-pound box. Okay, I just got it now. That totally makes way more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So another question I have for you. So it sounds like you're doing 50,000 through that. And then you said you do another 1 to 2,000 every other day on a monthly basis for direct. So we're gonna roughly presume, if I'm correct, how
Oh, you mean
often.
cards, individual cards? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
would you say you're doing probably around 80,000 cards roughly to 100,000 cards a month?
I've never calculated it, but that sounds probably right.
Okay. What is your current amount of inventory that you have stored for singles? Like how many single cards do you have?
Uh,
Just ballpark.
well, yeah, ballpark. It goes. It's so quick that like I'll hover around on TCG Player alone around. I'll hover around the 20 to 30,000 mark because of just how quickly they sell. So I'm constantly adding and shipping out. So it's like
Really?
it stays around the 20 to 30,000 card mark, but in store it's well way above that. It's probably a couple 100,000.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
That's
So,
just magic.
right. So when you say in store versus direct, is that just all like, hey, I've got a couple 100,000 that I hope to sell only through in store, or is that, hey, this is also going to go to Amazon? Hey, this
It's
is waiting to be
also on
added to.
TCG Player. No, it's all inventoried on the website and on my second TCG Player account, which just got started due to the channel fireball and all that nonsense buyout. And
So you created another TCG player account for the purpose of.
yeah, Binder POS just got the integration with TCG Player as well. So that got started for that reason.
So for you, you just obviously got another account for the purpose of more or less POS.
Yeah, POS and selling higher value cards.
What do you mean by selling higher value cards?
So when I, put a card in my inventory on the actual store inventory, it gets cross-listed to eBay, TCG Player, and my website. So I don't want to sell all these big ticket cards on direct because if I put all this stuff on direct, they would be gone in a day. It would just be gone. Like anytime you put a high ticket card on direct, it's gone within 30 minutes if you're priced accordingly. With the store and eBay and all that other things, I'm not priced competitively to sell that card that single day. I like to hold on to inventory for a little bit. So my pricing is based on the median pricing and not the market pricing. So median pricing is a little bit higher. So all my stuff gets listed on eBay, on TCG Player, and in store on the median pricing just because I like to hang on to things. Things still sell daily, like 20, 30, 40, 50 cards a day on eBay. And I also upcharge on eBay like 10%.
So when you say higher priced items, what would you say is around a
Like
minimum?
anything over $3 or $4.
Okay, and then what would you say a median is for you? Like, oh, the market price is $3 or $4. How much would you be charging then?
I could pick a card right now. It all depends on the card. Normally it like let's say a card is $75 on TCG Player market value. The median price of that might be 85. So in store, it's probably going to be like $5 to $10 more. Just because I know from experience that if I'm priced market or like close to market, it's going to sell instantly. And I like to have that in stock and on hand for when people come in and they want to trade in some cards for other things.
So is this something that you're pricing out in terms of that median through the mass price X that they give you as a tool? Or how are you, or individually?
It's not through TCG Player. This is through Binder POS.
Okay, gotcha. So you're just
Yeah.
using the tools with Binder POS.
Yeah.
Now for those, obviously, that don't know Binder POS, you can just look it up and know what it is. But are you aware, is this something that is only available for those with a game store location? Or can anyone get a POS Binder account?
No, anyone can get a POS Binder account.
Okay. And for yourself, if I'm correct, I think it's like $500, $300. I can't remember how much it is monthly, but um,
It varies because they charge commissions. So,
right.
yeah, it's my website is 150 a month, and I get a 2% sales commission on everything sold through eBay and my website directly. And it used to be 1% for Channel Fireball, but Channel Fireball is no longer a thing. So I think that 1% transitioned to TCG Player.
What do you mean by that 1 to 2% commission? Can you explain to that to people a little bit more?
Yeah, so let's say I sell a card. This is why I charge medium prices, and this is why I charge a little bit more, is because all these seller tools, in order for me to get my cards in front of faces, I need to pay high fees. So for that card that I sold for $90, that $75 card that I sell for 80, whatever, or 85, it's arbitrary numbers. I have to pay a 2% commission on top of all my other fees to Binder POS, and on top of that $150 monthly charge.
Okay, so are you paying this still so when it comes to selling on eBay, Fireball, TCG Direct, is it a different fee structure on top of that commission depending upon where it sells, or is it all the same one fee structure?
It's still charged on that platform. So I sell something on eBay, I'm still getting charged what you get charged, or anyone gets charged to sell that product. And then on top of that, I'm getting charged 2% on top of that.
Right.
And I'm also paying the fee on top of that to have the actual service.
So, as it stands with Amazon, you're doing 60 to 70% of sales from the sounds of it on Amazon. Also, I want to backtrack a little bit before I answer or ask my next question. So when it comes to you shipping out your units and the grueling process, when that process does commence, where you have those 2,000 units, how long would you say it takes you to typically, labor-wise, create those 2,000 units if you had to do it all at once, if you had the product readily available, and then were to just
to actually package it and everything?
Yeah, package it, everything, ship it out.
We could probably do it like 3 8-hour shifts, probably.
Oh, really? That's not that bad. But how many people, I guess, are on that?
Oh, probably me and 2 other people.
Oh, geez. Okay, that is grueling. Okay, so it's a long process. So then you're saying that cards priced under 8 cents and below, predominantly sold through Amazon, and then the rest you're running through POS or direct, or
no, there's another tiering on top of that. So anything yeah.
What's the other tiering? What's the other tiering, baby?
So anything pretty much, we'll say 8 to 10 cents, 8 to 15 cents and above, up to $3. That's direct. That's for direct.
Okay, so then what's for eBay?
And then anything $3 and over, I tend to keep for the store.
Gotcha. And then what about for Fireball?
Well,
eBay?
Channel Fireball is no longer a thing.
Right. Good point. So then, sorry.
When I say store inventory, I'm also saying eBay and TCG Player, my second TCG Player account.
Gotcha. Okay, so what about your first TCG Player account? Are you still actively?
That's direct.
Oh,
my direct account is my main account through TCG Player. That's my main, where I do majority of the volume. I have the second account, which is the store account. RNG Games, New Jersey, whatever it is. I forgot what the name is.
and do you run the direct program on that second account?
No, you can't.
Interesting.
Because it's tied to the store inventory.
Okay, I see.
It's a completely different system. It looks even different, than your normal seller account.
Okay.
Because it's ran through Binder POS.
Okay, so you can't run direct through Binder POS?
No.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does one? So you have to keep your old original account to run it through direct?
Yeah. So pretty much my direct account is, my main account, where it's not really my main account. It's the account I originally started. I would say my main account is the store account. That's where I would make, majority of my margins on that account.
Interesting.
But as far as volume, it's the direct account.
Well, because we originally had a direct account that we used, and then we wanted to run POS. And so we opened a POS account, and we're running through, everything is running through that. And we haven't used the old direct account since, because we've been able to run direct through the new account. So that's where I guess maybe...
Now, through that account, are you able to, like, say you don't want a certain price card not sold on direct?
To my knowledge, we should be able to do that.
Then the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because the tools I'm using. So I'm using, Binder.
Interesting. So then for you, it's more or less, how do I
have
say
two
this?
separate inventories.
Okay, gotcha. And would you say for you that's worked out most effectively, running it two separate inventories in that regard?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Wow, okay. And so with those two separate inventories, when you say the 30,000, that's on the first account for the direct, and then the remaining amount, because you remember how at the very beginning I asked you how much your inventory was?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's on the
direct.
direct.
The direct account hovers around 30,000 cards in inventory.
How?
Because it's constantly selling and constantly getting replenished.
Okay, and then you said the couple under 100 extra thousand cards you have.
That's the store inventory.
Gotcha. And then from the store inventory, how much of that is sold through eBay compared to in-store, would you say?
I would say more, because I used to do set binders. So I used to do, like, for in-store, which is a complete nightmare and I don't recommend. But it adds to the experience of the player. They like to flip through binders. They like to pick out. It has affected the bottom line, I have to say, but I was running into sort of theft issues.
Oh.
So, yeah, because all of my inventory is, like, as soon as my inventory gets put into Binder POS, it gets cross-listed to every platform. And there was, like, a week stretch where I was selling cards, trying to pull it from binders, and it just wasn't there. So, to nip it in the butt, I just said, you know what? We're only going to have cards in the case over, let's say, $15 or $20, whatever number I picked. I forget what it is. I think it's 20. And everything else, now that we have the warehouse, is getting put to the warehouse. People do in-store pickups.
Okay, interesting.
So they do that through the website.
Okay.
I forgot the question.
I was about to ask. I was like, so percentage of eBay sales compared to the store and everything else.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say the bigger ticket sort of cards sell in store, of course. I do have some, like, eBay repeat customers that do buy, like, complete sets of Ragavans, complete sets, the big cards, like $500, $600, $700 orders. But majority of the I would say trade-ins and big ticket sales happen in the store, like people buying the $100 card here, $50 card here, and the lower value, let's say $2 to $10 card, a lot of those sell on eBay. Majority of those sell on eBay.
Okay,
which is good for margins,
right? So when you say the $2 to $10 cards, is that like pricing in shipping, or is that not including shipping?
No, that's just the card itself.
Okay, so then just so I'm understanding this correct, 2 to 10 eBay, anything basically above that predominantly store?
Predominantly, yeah, in my experience.
And then 8 cents below Amazon, and then 8 to 15 cents is roughly direct?
Yep.
Where's that $15 to $4, $3 range? Where's the predominant of those cards being sold?
The majority of those get no, that's also direct.
Oh, that's also direct.
$15 to $3, yeah.
Okay, so then that's selling direct. So then running it back, Amazon.
Yeah.
This is a lot. But this is good. This is good. 8 cents below Amazon, 8 cents to $3, TCG Direct. $3 to $10, eBay $10 plus to your store or online website.
Yeah, and this just doesn't necessarily like because of something I picked up just because of my margins. It's just volume. Like those are where the cards are selling. So those are where the cards are going to be.
And is this something that you've like curated almost like an algorithm for yourself or an equation that you're like, this is the answer. This is the most
It's
effective.
the most optimal. It's the most optimal to keep things going. Like I don't want to be sitting on a million cards and being like, what am I going to do? I want it to keep going and I want to keep the wheels turning.
So when talking about your general success with this model, right? You shared it in a video, but I'll have you just kind of say it if you feel comfortable saying it. How much would you say you've done in total off of your first year in the store, and then how much have you done off of your first year just generally with bulk?
Yeah, well, bulk was crazy when I first opened. It was so good. Like even buying it at like 3 cents a card, 2 cents a card, it was like really good. It was like 4 or 5 extra money. It has really like crashed since then. So I would say as far as like I would say 50-50.
Really?
It's like 50% online, 50% in store. Yeah, I feel I wouldn't have the sort of the compounding growth that I've had if I just relied on store, which was my whole like business model when I opened the store, which was like I can't rely on people walking in the door.
Right.
I have to run this business as if no one's coming.
And if you don't mind sharing, like I said, you've shared it before, but what was your first year like financially? Like what was your number that you hit, whether it be
well, we still haven't really done our first actual calendar year. We did our first 365 days.
What's your projections?
Almost 7 figures.
Almost 7 figures. And that's
like
gross,
right
I presume?
there. Yeah, okay. Of course. Yeah, that would be, oh my God.
You're like, see you guys. I got about another year left. I'm out of here. Frick this. So,
yeah,
obviously, there's a bunch of general things you have to account because that's gross, right? And, And as you've said yourself, the majority of your product is, or the majority of whatever turns into nets gets reinvested into the business, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What do you think your goal would be in terms of gross sales to where you feel comfortable enough to be able to pull profit for yourself at a comfortable paid salary? Or is it something that you're like, I'm just going to keep rolling the ball, baby, and it's going to keep scaling? Like, what does that kind of look like for yourself, you know?
I do pay myself a salary. You know, I started around 6 months ago. The first 6 months, I literally didn't pay myself a thing. But I just recently started paying myself a salary. It's not a lot at all. Like, you can literally get a job doing anything and making more. But I'm reinvesting everything. I think we're hitting sort of the track where I'm at right now with this second expansion to this warehouse where I'm going to just coast for a bit and, you know, coast for about 6 months, see where we're at and sort of reassess my salary. Because I tell one of my employees, I tell him, I'm like, you make more than I make here. when I run payroll, I'm like, you made more than me this week.
Right.
So I'm going to reassess that. And, you know, once we get things sort of in a, you know, a nice area where everything is sort of streamlined and chaos is over of like moving and things like that, I'm going to kind of reassess and my salary and stuff like that. But I don't recommend you starting a store unless you have a substantial amount of savings. Because it's going to be a while before you pay yourself.
So for yourself, is there not like a price in mind that you're like, once we hit this amount, then I feel comfortable? It's like you're just at a point right now where you're reassessing?
I see. I've had those those numbers in my mind, but when I hit those numbers, there's always something else I want to do for the business in order to grow it.
Right.
So that number always gets like, it's like, we're right here, we hit it, but wait, I want to do this. So wait, it goes over here now once we hit this number.
Right.
So there's always, in order to be able to get the growth that I got, I don't think I would have hit it if I would have paid myself a substantial salary like off the bat. You just can't.
Right. So then, is this something that right now you run an LLC? Obviously, are you predominantly like you own everything, or do you have any partners involved with you?
Yeah, it's just me. This is my business. I own it. Well, me and my wife. My wife, we're 50-50 partners in life, so she owns half of it as well. And it's just us. But as far as day-to-day running, it's majority me and my employees.
How many employees do you have at this point, and what is your kind of expansion goals over the next 3 to 5?
Well, right now we're at 4. So I think we're gonna cap it at that and sort of run things a little bit. Maybe I might add another person to like run the front end, because maybe like hire someone who is sort of specialized in Pokemon, because the person I have down running front end now is sort of Magic Guy. So in order to get the players in and be fluent and adequate in that, I would need someone that knows Pokemon as well.
Okay. And what is your kind of goal right now? Like, is it you want to become a chain? Do you want to open multiple locations? Do you want to just continuously expand the warehouse online? Like, what is your ambition?
Yeah, no second location. If I were to do if I were to do like another spot, it would be a bigger location. That's one thing that I would recommend, is don't go small. I would say the absolute minimum is like what I have. That's 1,200 square feet, and you're going to run into issues, because like my commander nights, I have almost 40 people here. I got to bring out extra tables. I got to bring out extra chairs. It's like a madhouse. So I would have loved to, jump into a 2,600 to 3,000 square foot store straight off the bat, but I was nervous. I was even nervous opening up a 1,200 square foot store. But, knowing what I know now, it was a mistake. I should have went bigger right off the bat.
Well, so what's kind of making you cautious about opening a second location? Do you just not see that in terms of...
there's just not enough me.
Really?
Yeah. There's not enough me to go around.
So here's a question. Do you ever feel like you'll get to a point where you try and find another you to hire?
See, that's where it comes into play of like growth. In order for me to get another me, I would need to pay them accordingly. And it's just really not there in order like for me to grow at the rate I want to grow. I would need to, stop reinvesting a lot. I would need to, pay that person accordingly, of course. And then me, I'm just like, oh, I'm good with making almost nothing. We're good with that. I would need to be able to pay me first at a reasonable salary in order to take on someone else and open a location. Sure, that second location would probably bring in a lot more money if it was bigger. But right now we're in a 5-year lease. So we still have another 4 years to go. So I think my next step will just be a bigger location.
Okay. And so for yourself, in terms of your overall just growth as your business, like you're saying, finding another you, it's difficult. So then is it almost as if your kind of limitation, is there a limitation to that expected growth for yourself, or that you're like, I'm going to cap out at this? Or are you like, hey, I can at least hire some people to continue to grow the bulk side of things, but the storefront I know is only going to grow so big? Or like, what does that kind of look like for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty much capped with what I can handle on myself as far as online sales and stuff. Uh, I probably could just specifically staff someone to do bulk, do the online sales, do TCG Player Direct. I probably could staff someone that full time and be comfortable with that. And then of course that would free me up to do other things. But right now it's really, to tell you the truth, I'm nervous hiring anyone, as well as anyone should be. People that you don't know, it's very nerve-wracking. And hiring any, especially with cards of value, like these little cards, like you don't know if someone's stealing from you until it's too late. It's like years later, and you know they've embezzled thousands and thousands of dollars. You really don't know. Sure, you can get cameras, but then you're looking at cameras all day, and that's not where you want to be. You got to find someone you trust, and if you have family, that's what you rely on. And you have family that likes cards, you have a team around you that, it's a family business. That's when you could really hit the ground running and get some headway. It was just me. It's literally just me starting the store and doing everything.
Okay. So do you think then the next, step for you, what happens, do you think, when you get to that limitation of like, hey, I've capped out, this is all I can do, for myself on this end of things? Is it the next step of, all right, next general growth of expansion is I have to hire people in my family that I can trust, or are you just saying to yourself inevitably that there's a cap out point, and once I hit it, then there's no more general growth? Yeah. There's kind of a flatlining.
I mean, we're kind of almost there now. I just got to bite the bullet and hire someone, and see how it goes. Or I have to, give the people that I currently do employ more responsibilities in the company.
Okay. And do you have,
it's leaning towards hiring more.
Yeah. That totally makes sense.
There's things with scheduling, some people aren't available certain days, this, that. It turns into people, because this isn't a job, this isn't a career. Let's be honest, for like anyone other than the owner, and that's it pretty much, because it's going to be a high school kid or someone young or someone that wants to learn the industry, and it's constantly going to be churning people. So you're constantly going to be training people. You're constantly going to be retraining people. People are going to leave. People are going to come back. I've had one employee that's left and come back 3 separate times already, just because, got a different job. Then he doesn't like that job, comes back. It's just, a revolving door.
So you're saying right now, right, your employees are basically making more than you. And you're saying in terms of your general expansion, if you were to ever get a storefront, you'd have to hire another you, which would be expensive as heck, right? Yeah. So then in your mind, what is your own financial goal for yourself? Like, what is it like, where is that like, all right, I've finally done it? And whether it be a dollar figure, or you're like, I'm making 6-7 figures by myself, like, what is that kind of goal for yourself? Because it almost seems like, based on what you've described, there's like you're kind of in limbo almost on trying to figure out where that is for you.
I mean, yes, if I wasn't reinvesting everything. See, the thing is once, let's say, when people start telling you you're crazy, that's when you're onto something.
I love that. I love that.
Like, I reinvest everything, and I mean everything. I mean every single penny. Like, there's not a single penny that comes out of the business that doesn't get reinvested into other products, other things, other tools to make it easier for streamlining the process, anything. So I don't really see that being a thing that's going to happen. There's not going to be a point in time where I'm like, I'm making this X amount, I could take more money. I would say, in order for you to like actually be successful with running a business like this, is set your life up beforehand to the point where you don't need to really rely on this to support yourself. because the margins are so small, especially if you want to grow. If you want to just open an LGS and just, have fun and, make a few dollars and not really like grow to a point where like you want to be like a household name, it takes so much money and so much capital. It's insane. So if you want to just open a regular LGS store, corner store where people come and play and whatever and not really do online sales, you could support yourself. But you're not going to grow.
So obviously that point makes sense because you're going to constantly have to reinvest. But is there, like obviously we briefly talked about this right before. There's a lot of like negativity towards opening up your LGS. It's super tough. You have to have a lot of capital. It's very thin margin. Mm-hmm. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel that you can say to someone that, hey, once you go by this method, and it doesn't have to be, that black and white where you have to do this method. Yeah. Once you've hit a certain point that you can start feeling like, hey, all this hard work that I put into reinvesting and all of this, it's worth something. Like I can make like something that's a better above average wage, because obviously, sure, like you were saying, there's some people that are like, I just want to own a hobby store, and you have your life set up before that. Yeah. But there are still some individuals that are like, yo, I want to make this my own. I want to make money doing this. And sure, it's a dream of mine to own a store, but it's also a dream of mine to like make a successful living where I'm living comfortably because of that store. Is that something in your mind that you're like is realistic, whether it be for yourself or for other people? Or is there like oh no, this is like a certain, a custom lifestyle of living that you can only achieve up to a certain point of owning your store? Like, what is your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like, you don't have to reinvest every single penny. You don't have to try and grow. You can, the numbers are there. Like I can pay myself a reasonable wage. I choose not to. Everyone, when I first made my original video of like the real cost of opening a game store, everyone was like, you're making like $8 an hour or $5 an hour. Why are you doing this? And I'm just like, because in the end, it's all mine. Like, it's all mine. Like, I don't care about not making money right now. I'm giving up money now for money in the future.
Right, but I guess I feel like people are asking that question right. Are you giving that all up because your eventual goal is I would love to sell off the business and have a big payday, or is it I'm trying to hit a certain point of making a certain amount, or is it for you you're like I don't care about the money, I just want to grow it as big as I can? Like, what is your financial incentive?
I just want to grow it as big as I can.
Okay, so
it's like a numbers game to me. It's constant growth. It makes me feel good, like I've done something. Every time, that sales number goes up, or that inventory level goes up, or I acquire like some type of inventory that everyone wants that's super expensive, I'm like, that's my growth. That's it. The inventory levels are now, 6 or 7 or 800,000. That is my profit. The inventory levels going up is my profit.
So for yourself, then it's more or less it's not a game of like, okay, I'm trying to get to a point where I'm making 6 figures, 7 figures a year myself. Like that's my long-term goal. It's more of a, hey, my goal is to grow the business as big as I possibly can. Yeah. And whatever comes from that in terms of what I'm able to pull long term, then great. Whether it be 60,000 a year, 80,000 a year, 100,000, because obviously business write-offs will hide a lot of things, right?
That's another thing why I want to grow so rapidly. I have to get my my liabilities up. All
right, let's see.
I don't want to get taxed like crazy, so
$100,000 a year for the private Pokejet. God, that's a good liability to have. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta fly to events somehow, man. Like, you think I'm going Frontier? Get out of here, bro. Private, baby.
I'm not flying Spirit.
Yeah, get that out of here. Premium Plus, baby. No economy. Put me first class. I mean, no, that totally makes sense. I mean, you're more or less trying to play the game in your
Right.
mind, whether you want to say Monopoly, but it's obviously you're not starting a Monopoly, but you're playing the game and you're saying to yourself that I have this number for my business. So then here's the question then for that, right? If you're saying to yourself that, and obviously you said, oh, I might have to bite the bullet, but if you're saying to yourself, right, oh, inevitably there's a crossroad, whether it be hiring an employee or hiring another you that you can trust, right? That's kind of the eventual crossroad you're going to get. Well, if in your mind the number of sales increasing is most important, then why is that something that you're still so concerned about? Are you expending in your mind, are you like, I'm going to expend so much capital that it's concerning to like limit your growth? Is that where your kind of mind is, that you think hiring that extra additional person is not going to equate to more value in your expansion?
No, it's just I have a hard time trusting random people, especially in around all these cards. It's just a trust issue, and not just that. It's I don't have time to really train anyone because my day is very, very busy.
Right.
So it takes time to train anyone, and in order for me to train anyone, it would probably take a week or two of me being there training that person.
Right.
There's no one there yet for me to be like, all right, you train this person to do this.
Right.
Sure, on the front end would be a different story, but I don't need someone for the front end. I need someone, for behind the scenes and operations.
Right. I mean that totally makes sense, and that's something obviously you'll kind of find your answer for that as you go, whatever that is going to look like for your general expansion. But outside of that, obviously you've got your online sales and you've got your in-store sales and you're doing your events and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say as far as it goes right now? What is the project that you're working on the most, that you're most excited about, that, or what is an idea that you have that, if you don't want to give it away because you're like, oh, I don't want people to steal my idea, but like, is there something in your mind that you're like, I want to start doing this because I think there's a real opportunity in the market for it?
I mean, I did want to start incorporate more live streaming into the business, like whether it's through selling packs, cards, boxes, whatever. I set up this whole studio up here for that reason. We're gonna see how that goes. I sort of incorporated another portion of the business, the actual website called RNG Live, where we're gonna like live stream, box openings and stuff like that. But again, that requires time, energy, me. So we're going to see how that goes for a little bit and roll with that.
There's only so much of you to go around, man. You're just too valuable. What the heck?
Yeah.
Got to get it all figured out.
Yeah.
I totally get that though. So here's a question someone asked. How does an LGS know when to expand their inventory when it comes to holding different IPs and TCGs? What if a set performs bad? What's running through your mind?
Probably oh shit would be well, like let's say I'll put apples to apples and say like Baldur's Gate, that Magic set came out. It was probably the heaviest I've ever bought into a product. That release I probably spent close to 35,000 in just my initial allocation. So for that to come out, me to spend 35 grand on product and to sell literally one booster box in store was very scary. But there's going to be other things like that come along when that happens for you to sort of mitigate that initial like investment that was like insane at the time. And like 3 months later, the distributors are like, oh, we have collector boosters for $90 each. I'm like, okay, let's buy all of them, open them up, sell the singles, try and get in the black on that one set. And originally, those collector boosters, they charged me wholesale $226. So for them to sell it for that price, they're hurting. So there's certain deals that come along when you have enough capital and enough credit, enough things with the distributor to sort of lighten the blow of the bad sets. Because you got to remember, the distributors, they got to get rid of the product too. So they're going to lower their price and try and get in the black too. So one hand washes the other in this industry, especially when it's distributors that you deal with directly and they're your main distributor.
For yourself, is there like a certain amount of liquidity that you have on hand to set aside for deals like that when there is a distributor that's hurting? Or is it something where you're constantly like just capital is always consistently being reinvested, and if those opportunities do come up, you're like, another one will come up eventually. I'm just going to keep playing the game of rolling in.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many different things you could do. Like, I tend to like, I never want to spend more than I have in the business checking account, of course. Like, but there's going to be certain deals that come along that, entice you, of course. Then you could just rely on pretty much credit, like credit cards, whatever. But you got to know that you could churn that inventory quickly, or else you could run into some issues.
Right. Yeah, because that's something to be made very clear. Credit can be very much utilized as an important tool, but you also have to realize there's statement balances that have to be made, or else you're going to incur interest. And once you hit that roll and that keeps going, then it can get dangerous real quick.
There has been times where that no limit Amex card looks very tasty, and I'm like, they're got this deal for me, and I have done it before. Believe me, I've done it, but I only done it when I know like it's almost a sure thing. Like I'm like, this is a double your money type of deal.
Right.
So, and I know with my infrastructure and the way my business is built that I could churn that inventory in less than a month.
Right. So for yourself, it's like, I'm willing to expend this capital and leverage for the sake of an opportunity that I know I can make those deadlines by.
Yeah.
Okay.
You never want to take a chance on credit when you know like it's like a chance. It's like a risk.
Yeah. No, for sure. So for yourself, one thing we haven't really talked about, speaking of hiring employees or deciding to not hire an employee, the Roka machine. What is your personal experience with the Roka machine, and what?
We haven't even talked about it.
No, we haven't talked about it at all, dude. We haven't talked about the Roka whatsoever. Which, for those of you guys that don't know, the Roka is a card sorting machine that is made by Roka Robotics through TCG, and it's more or less the idea of it is it's going to replace one of your employees by doing a lot of automated sorting. So from your personal experience, obviously, I've only had mine for about a month, so you're a lot more experienced when it comes to it. What are your thoughts on it?
I should have got a bigger one. I should have, yeah. I mean, when I first got it, the first month, if you would have asked me, I would have said it's a hunk of junk and don't waste your money, just because of all the issues I had. But, the team over at, Roka Robotics, we worked through it, and it's been working like pretty much without a hiccup for the past 6 months. And it's by far, paid for an employee, because I used to sort by hand. Like every week, me, my brother, we would open 2 cases each and sort it alphabetically. And it would literally take all day. With this, it's like we just opened 6 cases and we're going to have it sorted by the end of the day.
That's crazy.
So it's like it's probably 10x'd my actual, throughput.
So in the next process or step of your scalability, are you going to want to get another Roka and a larger one like you said you wish you did?
Oh. Well, I don't know, man. We just because we originally leased it.
Right.
the end of the 6 months came, so they do it in 6-month increments. So I just bought it outright. I didn't want to lease it anymore. So it's going to be a little bit of time before I do any more investing into automation.
Gotcha. So then, but is that something you're gonna eventually do because this is part of your expansion path? You need it?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just curious, like, if you're saying to yourself, oh, well, it was so great, and you're gonna grow, presumably you're gonna need more at some point, obviously.
Yeah, because there's like 3 or 4 sorts we do. So in order for me to be streamlined to almost 100% efficiency, I would need like 3 machines.
Right. So when you say there's 3 or 4 sorts that you do, you want to explain what those sorts are?
Yeah, like originally it would be like to knock out all those low value cards. That's the first sort. Then, we build up a sizable amount of inventory in those higher value cards to warrant a 1,000 card sort in the machine. We don't want to do a sort to get rid of those low value cards and then just run those, those 200 or 300 cards through the machine. We want to build up a sizable amount of higher value cards to warrant the sort through the machine. So to streamline it, it would just be, one machine would be dedicated to just doing a price sift. It would just be sifting out all the junk. Then one machine would be dedicated to doing, a set sort. And then one machine would be dedicated to doing like a name sort. So each set will be sorted out through one machine, and each alphabetically A through Z would be sorted on another machine.
Have you ever thought about, rather than just getting another Roka, just getting a sifting machine?
I have. They have contacted me, Card Castle and all those other people. It's just I've seen them in operation, and I don't feel as though it would. The reason why the Roka machine is so expensive is because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's fully integrated with TCG Player. Yeah, I could go with those cheaper options. The Roka sorter was first to market and is now owned technically by eBay, if you want to be really technical.
Right.
So they're going to have the most innovation and the most sort of support.
Right. And so for yourself, even if it were just a sifting machine, you still think even if the efficiency is less thereof, the quality and the integration is just that more better to pay for that second as a...
I think so. I would have to get hands-on with another machine in order to actually...
Because what does a Roka do right now, sifting numbers? Not sorting, just general sifting between price value. I mean...
I could do 1,000 cards in around 70 minutes, 80 minutes.
Right. So then more or less the sifting efficiency, because obviously if you're doing general sorting, it's about roughly 2 hours for 1,000. So then you're saying to yourself is... 40 minutes faster, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to get down technical, I could sort faster than the machine.
Right, of course.
But the machine is also doing like 3 other sorts in one, pretty much.
Right. No, of course, and that's huge for efficiency and labor cost.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. So then, for yourself, for someone that wants to start this business without an LGS, right? Because obviously there's a large component of individuals that are not wanting to do that. When does it become viable to a certain point of your scalability where it's like you should get a Roka to continue your growth?
I don't really recommend it if you don't have a storefront, because I don't think the numbers are there, because it's going to be very hard for you to acquire bulk or anything of that nature like that, because it's going to be, you're not going to have things that people want. Like, a lot of people come in, they trade bulk for cards they want. You're not going to have a storefront. You're not going to have things that people want. People would rather, because I pay $5 per 1,000 for Magic. That's the industry standard. That's literally what everyone pays. So people aren't going to go out of their way to mail you 1,000 cards or meet up with you for $5. It's just not really, you know, unless you find a really good deal on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and you pay up for it. But if you're paying up for it, odds are it probably got picked through. Like the customers that drop off bulk to me sometimes are like, they're really picked through. It's slim pickings. Like even if I break even on it, I don't mind because I made a customer happy and I move some inventory. If they use store credit, if it's cash, it's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a break even. So it really doesn't matter. But I made a customer happy. And that's pretty much it. Like sometimes you break even on this stuff, especially with Magic, because players really know value of cards. Like they know.
So then would you say that your two, so here's a question then for you. Would you say that your biggest fear if someone were to like not run it from an LGS is one, it's going to be really difficult to be able to charge via the industry standards, because even if the price is slightly better than in store, the time it's going to take for some people is not worth it over a couple bucks. And then two, if someone is going to take the time for that, then more than likely they're going to just have a higher percentage of them being sifted through. Is that more or less?
Yeah, I mean, there are some like really good deals. Like I remember when I first opened, someone came in with like an insane amount of bulk, and there was like probably a stack of like cards, like which anyone knows, like it was all older cards. It was like a stack of Ristic Studies, which is like a common from an really old Magic set that is like a $40 card. But in the day, this was before like Commander, before everything, it was bulk, and there was like 20 or 30 of them. And I bought the bulk for $5 per 1,000. So it was like, there's going to be unique like situations like that, but it's going to be a lot harder to do online because the online customer base with especially bulk trade, they're a lot more in tune with the market.
Right.
So people coming into your store just want to get rid of stuff, and you can get more margins out of things because people just want to get rid of things. People online are going there for a specific reason, like to sell this one thing. So they know what they have normally.
Right. So you're more or less, taking a calculated risk and saying, hey, your store name, which isn't a name brand that anyone can just easily just Google search online, they're going to have to do a specific search. Odds are that the person that's doing that specific of a search, rather than going in casually to their local game store or just trying to quick sell it on eBay for cheap or Facebook Marketplace for cheap or whatever, they're not going to know, or they're more than likely going to be informed to the point of where it's going to be all sifted and sorted through.
Normally, I mean, sometimes you can get lucky, but then again, I really didn't. This is all theoretical.
Of course.
I don't do bulk buys from Facebook Marketplace or anything like that, or any type of Facebook group, just because I don't really need to, because I have a constant stream of people coming and selling me stuff. So I could be speaking out of ignorance right now. I'm just saying, I think in my mind that if someone has a bunch of Magic cards or a bunch of bulk, a bunch of Pokemon, and they're in a specific Facebook group dedicated to that, and the pictures look a little bit more too good to be true, 9 times out of 10, it is.
So here's an interesting question for you. And then we can start wrapping it up soon because you've already been over time for yourself, which I appreciate. You. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
I greatly appreciate your time. So in terms of your overall bread and butter, obviously it's Magic. Mm-hmm. However, and this could attribute to Pokemon as well, since this is a Pokemon channel. If you don't know that, then we can just talk Magic. What is your bread and butter card type that you sell? Common, uncommon, rare. If it's Pokemon, reverse holo, holographic. Like, what would you say is like, oh yeah, I love selling these. They sell quick and the margins are great.
Yeah, full art trainers.
Full art
are like,
trainers.
yeah, there's by far I will buy them all day. They huge collector base. Kids love them. They're just so easy to sell. Magic, it's gonna be that, $5 to $10 range a card that's playable. Doesn't really matter what it is. Those sell all day long. People will impulse buy them nonstop.
So what about cards under $1 for like Pokemon, for example? If you were to say between common, uncommon, reverse hollows,
Yeah.
hollow rares, non-hollow rares, even V cards, we'll say we'll price them
Just
under $1.
playable trainers, like, the at the time the evolution incense and stuff like that. All those playables.
Well, those are obviously high demand, right?
Yeah.
But so that's kind of unfair to say. I guess the question I'm trying to really get at is like, is there a certain one that for someone that's like looking to buy bulk, right? Because you're saying there's a huge amount of sifted through. Is it more common, more or less, to be like, oh, I find it sifted more through common uncommons, therefore it's a safer investment to go with the reverse hollows because there's always going to be more value. Like what is that kind of like, hypothetically speaking, right?
Reverse hollow trainers.
Reverse hollow trainers?
Yeah.
Okay, so
if you can get a bunch of those are always good.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, because that was one of the things I always wondered, like, comparing the margins or obviously the value. Yeah,
because you can buy them for 2 cents and they sell for like 30-40 cents sometimes.
Yeah.
So the margins there, like, it's astronomical. But in order to make any real money, you got to be doing volume on that stuff.
Right, of course. And then for yourself, you're charging $5 per 1,000, and you're just doing that flat for everything, right?
No, well, yeah, Pokemon now is that as well, but it might have to change soon to be more competitive in the market.
What market?
It's coming up.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. It's getting to be around $10 per 1,000 now.
Because I just looked, because I've been following the market, right? So when we were selling, just to kind of give you a little insight to our store, when we first opened up, we're like, all right, we want to make sure that we can start accepting bulk. It looks like a lot of our competitors are closed. Prices have been going down. It's at a penny. Just to try and be competitive, let's just put it out $0.50, see how it goes. Our goal is we want to try and reach a point where we can hit 300,000 cards. That's our goal. 250,000 was our goal, right? And we wanted to see how quickly we can get it. We hit our goal in 2 weeks, and we had to close. And we were like, holy crap. And since looking, the competitors we had at the time, already like 50% of them were closed, and now an additional 50% of who was open is now closed. And those that are open, I think the best I've seen is a $10 for in-store credit. Otherwise, it's 3/4 of a penny. So I almost wonder in your pricing of, the half a penny, is that something that you're like, I'm charging that amount because you're like industry standard, I've seen that being sold online, or industry standard based off of local game stores go?
Well, I know the margins are there for me to pay more for it. So I'm just judging on my own margins with how I do the whole process of the bulk. It requires less work what I do than like selling each card individually. So I could pay a little bit more and get more out of it than a person selling each card individually.
Right.
And it is coming up. It is recovering a little bit.
Right.
But, some of the really big boys have increased it a little bit.
Do you think that it is... So here's a question for you. For those that are online selling, right? And they're trying to do this online. Obviously, you're saying you don't recommend it, but let's say someone's like, I still want to give it a shot, because a lot of what we're talking about is hypothetical.
Yeah.
If you're saying to yourself, all right, I'm going to do this online, but I know that based off of what I see with my competitors, I'm going to try and shoot for, 3/4 of a penny to stay competitive. Do you think that number, compared to where the market is right now, do you think that's still survivable if you're able, compared to half a penny?
Yeah.
Like, how much would that kill you if you yourself were to raise that? Like, how much would that take a dent in your margins?
Not really. I mean, like, I used to pay 2 cents a card. That was like, the industry standard. Like, I could probably pay that amount and like kind of break even, or even like pay 2 cents a card and just do store credit. And then, I'll make a little bit more because, we have profit margin on the things in the store already. So it's, it makes sense. As like a individual customer, yeah, you could, as a at home seller, you could probably pay 2 cents a card and do okay. Just because you just have to be a little crafty on how you do it. Like, any card over like 20 or 30 cents, sell online. You just have to put in more time. If you have the time and you're able to do it, then yeah, you could be paying people like 3 cents a card and still make money. It's just, is it worth the time?
Right. Okay, so here we're gonna wrap this up, and then I've got one last question, and then you, if you want to have any final thoughts that you want to say or plug yourself or whatever, we'll wrap it up here. But my last question is, right, because I think this will be a little bit of a tough one. So if you could answer it, that'd be great. But if not, I understand. So obviously, going back to it, if you can open a game store, obviously optimal. But for a lot of people, maybe running it from home is realistic. Maybe it's not, based on all these hypotheticals. With all that being said, if in a hypothetical situation it were to go to COVID again, or you yourself were no longer to run it through the store and it had to all be done online, or maybe even, let's not get so deep in this hypothetical, but let's just say someone else were to try and start doing everything purely just online without the utility of the store, what do you think the right approach would be in order to do what would be required if you were to do it all online? And in terms of that, does that mean like, I'm doing what you're exactly doing minus the accessibility of in-store pickup and so on and so forth, more or less, to be able to accept bulk? Like, if you're now all of a sudden forced to only be able to acquire bulk from online, like what are you doing at that point,
Well, there's so many different pots to this operation. It's, like, there's so many different aspects of it. You can't really compartmentalize any single part of this business and it'll be successful, which is why, like, just doing it online, yeah, it can be done, but you're missing out on a lot of other things. Do I think it could be done? Like, let's say if there's another COVID. During COVID, a lot of LGSs did the best they've ever done. Just because of just the massive online boom to all trading cards. Like, a lot of people, like, I know a lot of people in the area that still didn't open their doors from COVID because they don't want to. They're just like, why should I do that? I'm on Whatnot. I'm selling, live streaming. I'm doing this. Why should I open my doors and go back to that when I'm making more doing this? So it can be done. You just have to figure out how to do it. Like, as far as selling bulk and just doing that, I don't really see that unless you do it on a mass scale, like insane scale. I don't really see that alone, just that being a sustainable thing, unless, of course, you have 1 million cards in inventory and, you have a steady stream of people bringing you stuff and you have a team of people shipping stuff. Because you got to remember, you have that bulk, but you also have to ship it. Like, you have to be there and ship that stuff. So to go back to that question, which I don't remember what it was.
If you were to do it, if you were to try and run it successfully, what you're doing right now, but you were forced to do it all online, you couldn't use any of the utility that you have of the store. More or less, I'm just asking the question, trying to wrap it around from your perspective if someone else were to do it but not have the funds to open up a store.
Yeah, I do think it can be done. It's just you're gonna have to be really crafty. Like there's a lot of people that order singles from me that do strictly online businesses. Like they build custom decks. They do all sorts of other things like that. Like I have this one customer who builds custom commander decks, and literally I know when I get an order for like 200 singles, it's from him. Like there's people like that do certain things other than just buying a card and selling a card. You just have to figure out your niche.
Do you follow-up question, I swear this is the last one. Do you sell any of your sealed product online, or is it strictly in store?
No. The only sealed product I sell online is through my Patreon.
Gotcha. Okay. And is that for you just because you're like, money's just not there because it's so much more competitive online?
Yeah. It's not worth it for me to handle the sale. Like, let's say 9 times out of 10, a box is going to sell for like, on a good day, like $108, $110 online a set box. When you get them for like 100, you're losing like $5 to $10 per box.
Shipping's expensive.
So, yeah, it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No.
So I'd rather just, sell it to my patrons, and then that's that.
Yeah. Well, that that totally makes sense to me from that perspective, especially now as things get more competitive.
Or open it.
Yeah, or open it. Which I would have loved to have gone and asked more questions about that, but I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I think as far as it goes, we've already answered a lot of questions I feel like people have, especially a lot of the important ones. But yeah, is there any kind of final remarks you want to make, or just obviously give your plugs and everything so people can follow you?
Something my wife always told me is jump and the net will appear. And that's all I can really say. You just got to do it.
Just got to do it. Just got to take the risk.
That's it. It'll always work itself out.
You heard it here, guys. Financial advice from... No, I'm just kidding.
No.
It's an LLC. Don't worry. He won't be liable. Only his business will be. He'll be fine, guys. Don't feel bad to sue him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I am my business.
I am my business. I am the one who knocks. No, I'm just kidding. For anyone who gets the reference. Well, awesome, man. I want to thank you so much once again for obviously coming on. I know you said you were recovering from being sick, so it's awesome we were able to make this work out, especially so impromptu. For those of you guys that did stick around and checked it out, thank you so much. Obviously, like I said, very impromptu, last second kind of switcheroo on you, so hopefully we'll have a good amount of people that will still view this after the fact, because honestly this has been one of my favorites. I feel like I've been able to get a lot of knowledge and information from you when it comes to opening a game store, and just whether you want to say it or not, I do think success is a word to be thrown around there, even though of course it is something that can be perceived differently by individuals, but yeah, of course, check him out on his YouTube channel, RNG Gamez with a Z. I'll make sure not to mess that up. And then is that where all your other socials are, basically?
Yeah, pretty much. Just on Instagram, it's RNG _ Gamez with a Z _ TCG. So weird, but
awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much once again for stopping by. Of course, as always, you want to enter into our weekly giveaways, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But that is all for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you guys on Tuesday. So have a good one, everyone.